It's not a problem many of us will face, but consider this for a moment if you would. If you were to be appointed a dame, or that knighthood you've been hoping for finally came your way, would you want to use the title? I ask because the former Director of Public Prosecutions, Sir Keir, has been selected as a Labour candidate at the general election, and according to the Times, one of his campaign team asked a journalist not to use the Sir. Well, Sir Tim Hunt is a joint Nobel Prize winner. Sir Christopher Mayer was the UK's ambassador to the United States. You're both very welcome. Sir Tim, first, what did receiving the knighthood mean to you?
Well, slight embarrassment, actually. I think, it's a great honour, of course, but I tried to avoid it in the first instance because I don't really like being called Sir.
You could have turned it down, I suppose.
Well, that seemed even more churlish. I mean, a letter arrives and they say, you are going to be Sir Tim. So my wife was delighted, but what do you do? Well, I don't like being called Sir very much.
Well, then I won't. Which should I call you? Just Tim Hunt or Doctor?
Tim is
Hunt?
fine.
Right.
Tim is fine. Yeah.
What about you, Sir Christopher? What did it mean to you?
Well, I was very proud. Obviously, very proud because it was something given to me by the Queen, by the monarch, for almost 40 years public service, and it is a kind of landmark in my life. And not only am I very proud of it, but I think my family is as well. And I don't have any qualms about being called Sir, but then I'm very rarely called Sir, as a matter of fact.
Why do you think that is?
Well, when you fill in forms and people write to you, they very rarely put the Sir on you because forms don't allow for you to be called Sir. You can be called Mr., Ms., Miss, even sometimes Doctor, but very rarely does Sir pop up. So although I have the title, and I certainly never insist on anybody calling me Sir, I'm perfectly happy to be called Christopher, it is not something that happens all that often. So I don't understand, well, I do understand what Keir Starmer's problem is. He's a Labour candidate, and most Labour candidates would probably find it offensive to their ideology to be called Sir.
Well, Tim Hunt, I wonder whether it does open doors. Do you get seats in restaurants more easily?
I've never discovered how you do that. It would be great if it did, but I don't think it really does. The only place I do use it is on British Airways, I must admit, and they treat me perhaps a little better because of that, I think.
You hinted your wife found it particularly useful.
Well, she wasn't not useful, but I think she just sort of likes the idea of being Lady Hunt, except she doesn't like being called Lady Hunt because she, for professional reasons, likes to be known as Dr. Collins or Professor Collins.
You sound like you're in a bit of a bind.
Well, a terrible bind. Yeah. I mean, seriously, in the olden days, my heroes, the Francis Cricks and the Jim Watsons of this world, never wanted to be called Sir for good scientific reasons, actually. And one of the important things about being a scientist is that, everybody is really on the same level as a scientist. And the more titles and stuff you have, the more it tends to isolate you from the people that your collaborators and friends. And I don't like being high and mighty in that way. So they avoided it. And then something changed. And actually every honours list, there's always at least one scientist in nowadays. So the convention is now that people accept these honours and they try and get away with it as best they can, I guess. But it does tend to, people treat you with exaggerated respect. And I don't like that. It's not necessary.
So, Christopher, do you get treated better?
No, well, I just certainly don't get treated with exaggerated respect at all. In fact, in the United Kingdom, I can't see any difference between my life after becoming Sir and before I was Sir. Actually, in the United States of America, when people realise what it is, they treat you as if you're some minor figure in the royal family with excessive deference. But you certainly don't find that here in the UK. I must say that I've got this feeling that Keir Starmer, and even Tim Hunt, dare I say, is making a bit of a meal of all this. I mean, I don't feel high and mighty being called Sir. It may be that in certain restaurants...
Oh, no, you don't feel high and mighty, but other people see you as being high and mighty.
Well, I can't help the complexes of other people, Tim, and to be perfectly frank with you. But a restaurant or two might give you a table which might not otherwise be available on a busy night if they know you are Sir. One can't rule that out. BA, I've been never aware of BA treating me better as my knees go up under my chin in the back of the
Fork out
plane.
for a more expensive seat, you tightwad.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I should do. You see, now you can do that, whether you're sir or you aren't sir. But I mean, my wife doesn't particularly like being called Lady Mayor because, again, in the United States they think lady is a first name and not a title. And anyway, she's got a gong of her own. She's a CBE, so she's quite happy with that, and does not have to sort of bathe in my glory if glory it is.